up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Happy Preakness Day. What is up, man?
What is up? Yeah, this is a lot of fun, man. It's been a really, really good day of betting. Weather hasn't been the greatest, but it didn't affect too much. So some of those early races, yes, but as we went on, it seems to be playing pretty fair. So I'm excited for what's in store here.
We are 4 minutes to post to the dinner party, and then of course we've got like a 70-minute gap into the Preakness. I think that might be pushing what the Derby does even at this point. But yeah, it's been a day. It's been a solid day. If you guys have been following along with the betting Bible, I think you guys have been doing well. We've had a lot of exactas, trifectas, win bets kind of scattered about, pick fives, you name it. We've been hitting some stuff across the board. So hopefully, especially considering the scratches and the track conditions, because one thing about it is, and we'll talk about this race in just a second, but one thing about it is, early on, you and I were talking, it's like, man, it just feels like these these horses just aren't running. You can just tell that like some of these horses absolutely hate this track.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, a lot of it is, and this is not me trying to be mean, but it's just kind of being honest. The early part of this card, the quality of horse is not usually what you're going to see on a big day, right? Like, even on Kentucky Derby Day and Oaks Day, you had really nice horses in those early races. Here, it was kind of a Laurel Park Saturday card, right? And so you kind of, that the lower level horses don't really overcome things like that as easy or as better as, let's say, these horses as we've went on in the card. You get that a little bit more quality. So I think that's kind of what it is. As we went along, we've seen it's playing pretty much like we thought it would. I am a little apprehensive about this last race here on the turf. The turf has been, it's got to be just a bog, and it's still raining, so the turf may be a little bit weird here. So this is the big question mark left.
Yeah, lots to digest with the track, especially with this rain continuing here. We'll talk about the main track as it relates to the Preakness here. We have time between this race and the Preakness. But let's focus here, Halterman. We have 1 minute to post on the dinner party. Kind of a bummer this morning. A couple horses that we were using in some plot. My top pick, Emmanuel, scratches, which we knew. We obviously had some connections with the Pletcher barn, and they said obviously unless they take it off the turf and they run on the dirt, he's going to scratch because he wants a fast turf, and so that's not going to, obviously not the case. So he scratches, but kind of give me an idea what you're playing here.
Look, I really like the 5 running B, so that's going to be my main play as far as a win wager. With the scratches, I kind of hate it because it hurts some of my prices. I went 3, 5, 9 in here, and then I'm going to sprinkle in the 1 now with the other scratch of Emmanuel, and like you said, and Hamos. So 1, 3, 5, 9 is where I went, but 5 on top. And those numbers, that's what we need to keep the pick 5 going. Like you kind of mentioned, we've already got a pick 5 already on this card. We could be live to the Preakness for a pick 4 and a pick 5 with a win here. So hopefully we get it. But look, I really like 5, 9. I think those are the 2 I like best, but they are the 2 shortest prices, mainly because of what you said. Those scratches have come in and they've really kind of hurt prices on some horses that you thought might be a decent spot here.
One thing about today that because I'll be honest, and if anybody just followed along with us, this week, it's like I don't love this card, right? It's just been, I've just had a hard time finding many real opinions that I like, especially after the Muth scratch. And so a few times I've played, and I'm not a box guy. I don't box tries and exactas almost ever, but I've played a few and I've hit a few today because of that. And I kind of had a realization, not really realization, but like, just like I think there's days where it's like, it makes sense because like this race, for instance, with the scratch of Emmanuel, I like the 5 as well on top, but I also have a little love for a Tone. I think he can he's shown that he can run races and win this kind of race. And then, I like Beatbox too, but I really don't have an opinion on any of those 3. And so like, I don't hate boxing those horses. And to me, sometimes you have this bad, it's like, well, you got to have an opinion. It's like, well, I don't. I'll be honest. I really don't have a super big opinion here.
That's a really interesting kind of thought, and I think it makes sense. If you don't have that big opinion, it's okay to box a bet as long as you kind of make it where it makes sense price
Well, it
wise.
needs to have value. Yeah.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you're boxing the 3 favorites, then that doesn't do a lot of good. But
Right.
for this case, like a tone is sitting there at 5-1. I he could win. Like, I don't think I would be shocked if he won, but so I have a hard time saying, okay, B box, I'm going to key on top, or let's say running B I have on top now. Running B, I'm going to key in this top spot, right? Because to be honest, if you guys played the betting Bible or been following along, that's how I played it. I had a manual over a couple horses.
Yeah.
Manual. I had that kind of opinion on him here. But I don't have that opinion on running B. So that regard, and it may be other horses you guys like in here. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Like, don't be afraid to be like, it's not cool to box, because I think sometimes if you want to play the race, you like these 3 horses, but you really don't have a super big opinion of who's going to run where, then it's okay.
A lot of times we'll get emails from newer people, and they'll kind of want to like, what is my systematic approach to using your picks? And it's always kind of it's a hard kind of bridge to gap of the worst thing you can be in horse racing as far as your wagering goes is systematic and too structured and only doing 1 or 2 things over and over and over and over. Every race presents a different opportunity, right? And so like Corporate Power, that was a horse we liked. Well, we probably are not going to box in that race. We're probably going to single him on top. And so if you love horses, single him on that top spot and try to do something with it. But if you're lukewarm and you can make it work odds wise, I don't think there's any problem with doing exactly what you're saying. I totally agree. So,
all right, they're loading to the gate. Give me your final play.
Yeah, I'm going to go the 5 on top running B, and then I'm going to play a 3-5-9 exacta here.
All right, give me the. I also have the 5 on top. I'm playing the Atone, the 4 horse, the 4-5-9 exacta. Yeah. So looks like we got the 11. I see a lot of love for a lot of love. One person loves the 11 quite a bit here. I've seen a lot of comments, eons. We'll see. Yeah. Definitely the track, like you said, the track is so weird right now in that rain and the bogginess. Like, it could make up for a horse winning at a big price. All right, they're off.
Yeah, they're off in the turf, the routes of the turf that you've kind of been on the outside and closing. So we'll see if that holds up. But it's just a couple of data points. So we'll see. It looks like the 8 Helms Deep is going to go out to the lead here, and running B stocking in a really nice spot there in second.
Yeah, that's nothing. Yeah, the 8 kind of the 8 wants to go 35-1, wants to fly out there. They're not. I mean, if the time's right, they're crawling.
Who knows if that time's correct, but that is a very slow tempo. There's no doubt. One of the big things, and again, it's only been a couple of races, but the winners have been on the far outside. So kind of start to see if horses start to tip out towards the outside of this turf track once they start getting for home. They really are. If those 52 and 0.77 for the half, if that's accurate, they're really walking.
Yeah, the 5, if that's correct, the 5 is really just sitting in perfect position here. The 9, I mean, no one really is in a bad position if they're running this slow, because you got to believe 8. Yeah, the 8 looks like he might be starting to give it up here.
I don't know what Jorge Ruiz was doing there, trying to just put the 1 in between the 5 and the 8 there. That was really weird.
Come on, Tone, have something.
Yeah, 5 turns are home with a pretty nice lead. Highland Chief's going to get going on the inside now. Looks like the 6 is closing pretty decent. I don't think these horses are running just real fast up there.
Look at Highland Chief skirt up the rail.
Oh, the 3 would be amazing for the pick 5 tickets. 5. Oh, the 3 would be amazing. Come on.
5, 3, 3.
Come on.
Run away with this thing.
Get home. All right. Well, we're going to have about a 70-minute sweat now as the 3's going to get home for the pick 5.
3, 6, 5, 1.
All right, Betting Bible and Rocket's going to be alive to the 3 and the 9 for the pick 5 and the 3, 5, 8, 9 for the pick 4 coming up in the Preakness. So we got a 70-minute wait to sweat out what should be some decent payouts with back-to-back races here on the turf where you got a decent price.
Nice, dude. Well, yeah, I mean, that's again, a good example. I mean, that like these turf races have not been impressive whatsoever today. And obviously because the turf is tough, but yeah, man, there for a second, I thought Atone was about to run one of his races, and then he just hit a wall.
He did, and again, look what happened. The 3 and the 6 with the 2 on the farthest outside of that track. I'm telling you, all those inside lanes, they have to just be a bog because they have just died every time. That's not a good word to say. They have quit hard every time on those insides. Yeah. You think of even back earlier to this morning to the second race that had a huge favorite in it, and he was sitting a good trip. It was a 2-horse, can't remember the name now, but sitting a good trip. Turned for home, looked like he was going to win, and he just stopped. And it feels like anything inside, it just spun their wheels all day. Now, we don't have another turf race, so it doesn't really matter now. But
have you seen any as far as, I guess we can transition here now to the main track and, of course, the Preakness. But have you I mean, obviously, we talked a little bit earlier about how it felt like you couldn't really make up a ton of ground. Have you noticed any trends on the main track?
It seems like it's playing a little more fair. To me, on the turf course, it's been all outside closing. On the dirt, we've seen kind of a little bit of everything. I think in general, you're going to want to be more towards the front. Like I don't really think we're going to see somebody come from dead last in the spot, but I don't think it's impossible either. I really haven't seen much of a bias on the dirt course.
There you go. The people looks like are alive to the 8, alive to the 3, 8, 9. Group ticket is alive. So there we go. A lot of people use that horse there. Going to be alive to, I mean, yeah, this is, you got to assume Mystic Dan will be the favorite if you are alive to the 8 and the 9. I mean, I think that the Preakness, as far as those go, are going to be pretty spread apart. As far, I think because it even if it's Mystic Dan, like I just think the public has really no idea what's going to happen in this race.
I agree with that. Yeah, I do agree with that. We have seen some really just evenly matched odds. I'm very curious to see the will pays of these pick 4s and pick 5s. That we'll get them here in about 5 minutes. We'll read those out to you. But because those give a true indication of what the horse player really thinks about. And we saw it with the Black Eyed Susan doubles. It gave a good indication that Mystic Dan's, if he's going to be the favorite, he's going to be a lukewarm favorite. I mean, the favorite in the Black Eyed Susan doubles was your horse, Tuscan Gold, which incredible, right? Like he wouldn't. I think you knew he was going to take money for sure, but I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, it became increasingly obvious throughout the week that, okay, this is I've accidentally picked the wise guy horse here, because it seems like more and more, because let's be honest, it makes sense why, because and that maybe that's probably the biggest thing is well, it's like he got the Chad Brown effect, and we know he everyone's like, well, he knows how to get a Preakness winner, and it's like we've seen this exact same thing, and you don't have a beast of a horse in here, so it makes sense why he kind of he's the fitting horse for that kind of I guess wise guy horse. But sometimes those horses, and a lot of times actually, those don't pan out very well.
You kind of, I feel like as this got creeping closer and closer to post time, I'm talking even like yesterday, as the hours passed, it felt more and more like, yeah, he's going to be the steam horse, right? Because there were others that kind of maybe you could see it, but just kind of the more you kind of talk to people, it's like, yeah, Tuscan Gold's going to get that money. So, but look, it doesn't mean he's going to lose, right? It doesn't. So I wouldn't get too upset. First click here, Tuscan Gold 4-1. Mystic Dan is the favorite at 3-1.
And that's the thing too, is I don't know. I mean, for what it's worth, he's been pretty damn, you can tell Chad likes him, he thinks he's in with a big shot. And so, I mean, it's one of those things, and we talked a lot about this on Blinkers Off. It's like you're gonna, the same thing with Catching Freedom. We kind of had that conversation. Well, Brad never runs his horses back on 2 weeks like this, and it's like, well, we're gonna look back and say, well, there's a reason why he doesn't now, or I should have, that was so obvious. Why did I not, that he told us that he thought this horse would run?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's it. These 4 horses that are going to take the money, they are kind of a damn it, I knew it type of horse, right? But I just try to get too cute, is what you're going to say at the end of the day. So yeah, I mean, and myself included, sitting here with just 2 horses in the pick 5 and 4 horses in the pick 4, you're sitting here going, why didn't I just play them all in the pick 5? As well, because that would have been great. But look, I do feel like when Muth scratched, it did kind of become just a little bit of a pick your poison type of race versus, and again, this is just my opinion, versus all right, I'm just going to build around Muth and we'll see, right? But the flip side of it is, if I'm alive to just Muth here, I'm not alive to these prices that I am right now. Looks like right now the 3 for this is Catching Freedom for the pick 5. The will pay is almost 1,500, and it's almost 2,000 for the 9 Imagination. So this is huge right now. And then even the pick 4s, I had the pick 4 3, 5, 8, 9. I mean, it's still $300-$400 for some of these. So it's there, and the money has been spread out because of that scratch of Muth.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that's the case. Like, you would have had Moose singled and then, moved on. And so, yeah, the payouts are there. Just real quick, guys, we are 57 minutes to post for the Preakness 149. I'll run through the odds. And Halterman, we're seeing it here. Even a horse like the one Magadu that's really seemingly on paper, no chance, 16-1. So I mean, the horse is actually bet down from the morning line. 16-1 on him. Uncle Heavy at 7-1. That's crazy. 7-2 on Catching Freedom. 3-1 on Mystic Dan. 8-1 on Seize the Gray. 9-1 on Just Steel. 4-1 on Tuscan Gold, and 4-1 on Imagination. So Imagination and Tuscan Gold sitting there as your third and fourth choices. Mystic Dan, Catching Freedom right now at 5-2 is your morning line, or is your current favorite, I should say. Mystic Dan, your Derby winner at 3-1. So let's talk a little bit about how you handle this. I mean, because if you like Catching Freedom, is 7-2, 3-1, wherever, in that department, is that too low for you to play? Or do you kind of have the opinion, really, 4-1, 3-1, 7-2, wherever they, some of these horses are? It's kind of like, well, you get your choice. It's like a grab bag. Like, whoever it is, like, you kind of get the price you probably need and play it. Don't be afraid of not playing it because of it.
Totally. I have no problem with 7-2. I thought realistically that's where he'd be, right around there, maybe even 3-1. So I certainly am not upset. And in my opinion, and again, this is just my opinion, but if you're betting to win one of the top 4, Catching Freedom, Mystic Dan, Tuscan Gold, and Imagination, all those prices are fine. Even Mystic Dan, who we speculated would get bet very hard, he's not. So if you like him, gosh, I mean, this is a great price for him, right? Like, if you looked at this and I thought he would be 8-5, and he's 3-1, well, all of a sudden that's pretty good value. I think John White would tell you he loves Imagination as well as Mike Somich. Hey, 4-1, I'll take it on Imagination. That's not a bad price. I would say it on Catching Freedom. I don't know, Tuscan Gold 4-1. You might be a little disappointed with that, Jared, but
but I mean, I'm disappointed because I was hoping for better. But at the same time, realistically, I knew, like, this horse is going to get bet because if Muth was in the race, I thought that you're talking 6-7-1. But I handicapped it after Muth was scratched, so I probably wouldn't have picked him at all, anyways. So right. I kind of expected him to be bet. The 8-1 was based on Muth being in the race. That's just right. It, and so you kind of have to take that into account.
Yeah. And you said it kind of to top off, or to start off the talk about the odds here. You said it. It's the Rich Strike effect is still in effect for these Triple Crown races. It's really crazy. Mugatu's bet down. Uncle Heavy's bet down. Seize the Gray's bet down. Just Steel bet down. All those horses that were double-digit morning line odds and probably deserve to be that price based on their resume, all of them taking money. Uncle Heavy is 7-1. I mean, that's just crazy to think. But again, people, the public will say, hey, 15-1, Rich Strike did it, and they're betting it, and it's still happening.
Well, especially when you have a Derby winner that wins at like 18-1, right? So they're like, I'm not gonna let that happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not, and so you have Mystic Dan in here at a short price. Is Mystic Dan even 3-1 playable for you? Is that too low?
Look, I don't think he's the best horse in the race. So, like for me personally, it's a little low. However, if you believe he is going well, if you believe he's the best horse in the race, your mouth has to be watering because this is a very playable favorite. If you have the opinion of, look, I think he's better. The track's wet. I'm not worried about him. You got to crush him at this point. Again, that's not me. That's not who I picked. I don't necessarily think he's the best horse in the race, but true odds or value odds, that's each individual person's decision to make. My decision is no, but if you think he's the best horse in the race, yes, 3-1 is very much playable on him.
Listen, I've said it all week, and I mean, at this point, there's no sense of changing. I just believe that these horses that are coming off that 2-week layoff, the Derby horses, especially the Catching Freedom and the Mystic Dan, like, that we saw it last year with Mage. Is like he looked perfect. Like he couldn't ask for, then all of a sudden when they kicked home, it's like he didn't have it. He just didn't have it, and that was tough for him to come off that layoff. And you could kind of see a similar situation with both of these, especially Catching Freedom, who's going to have to make up some ground, obviously. Can they get there with two really fresh horses on the outside in Tuscan Gold and Imagination? Imagination should be out on doing kind of dictating things on his own. And I do believe Tuscan Gold will be sitting a nice trip off of him. And so really, you're going to have to run down two fresh horses. Now, it's fair to say, like, well, maybe those two aren't that really good of horses, so maybe they can. But it still doesn't change the fact that, like, you're going to have to change. Those are two horses that ran their asses off in the Derby, and they're going to have to do it again here in 2 weeks.
I watched the replay back, and I think Mystic Dan was really giving it his all. I'm not sure Catching Freedom was absolutely all out in that race. You kind of watch it back. He didn't, I don't know. He just kind of started spinning his wheels a little bit, and maybe because he was tired there even, which would be even worse. But I don't know. I just, in the back of my mind, I keep thinking, if he wasn't doing very well, he wouldn't be here. There's just no pressure for him to be here. So I don't know. That was my thought on it. But again, you're right. These days and times, horses wheeling back, you just don't see it very often anymore. 2 weeks is so rare. We talked about it on our show. Brad Cox has only done it 5 times in the last year. Kenny McPeek's only done it 21 times in the last year. And Lucas has only done it 16 in the last year. And Lucas and McPeek are very aggressive guys. So that just shows you it just doesn't happen very often anymore.
Yeah. And I do think it's important to remind people, maybe people that don't play much other than these Triple Crown races, but the exotics aren't quite like the Derby and the Preakness. Like, you can't just play like, this crazy ticket and be like, well, it's the pools are going to be huge. So it just isn't quite. Now, obviously, if it comes in like Tuscan Gold over, one of the Lucas horses over Uncle Heavy, then yeah, it would come in. But if it comes in Mystic Dan over Tuscan Gold over Imagination, well, it's really not going to pay a ton. It'll pay okay. But my point of that is like, you got to get somewhat aggressive in the Preakness. Whether your opinion is a win, whether your opinion is playing your opinion on top over a couple underneath, whatever that is. But I do think, because I think a lot of people assume, oh, well, it's a Preakness, it's going to be like the Derby, you can get crazy prices. Well, it doesn't have the payouts that you would assume. So get aggressive somewhat.
Yeah, I think you have to. In this one. And, Rodney has a play up there saying 8-9 over 8-9 over 2-3, basically saying, hey, it's going to be an 8-9, 8-9, and then 2-3, and then he can play that ticket for a decent amount of money, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of alludes to what you're saying exactly. We talked about boxing in the race before, and this race, and we wrote it on the Bible. This is more of you got to press up top, whether it be one horse or you could use 2 horses. Kind of got to press, keep the ticket price a little bit lower so you can play it for multiples. And because, again, like I said, it's just not going to pay quite as well in this one as it did 2 weeks ago. And fundamentally, the first thing is it's 8 horses versus 20. And I don't care if you're talking about the Derby and the Preakness or the 3rd race or 4th race at Remington Park, on a night in October. a larger field size is going to produce bigger payouts.
Is there any case that you can make for, I mean, other than, let's say, the 5, the 3, 5, 8, or 9, as far as underneath, like in the second and third spots, do you think you could play, like, say, a Tusk, if you like Tuscan Gold, or if you like Catching Freedom, play Catching Freedom over Uncle Heavy and Seize the Gray and Just Steel? I mean, is that something that or do you think this is going to be somewhat of a expected result, I guess?
The trend in the Preakness has always been something weird in second or third, like something just kind of strange. So could it be Uncle Heavy? I don't really love that horse. I think just because we've seen it so many times, Just Steel, maybe he gets a different trip this time. He's not on the lead. I don't think there's any chance he's going to be pressing the lead. Maybe he just runs up and some of them get tired. Somebody gets blocked. Somebody hates the track. And all of a sudden there he is again, right there, finishing second or third, beating 4 lengths, but still rounding out a try or an exacta. So he's kind of the one for me that's like, yeah, I could see him kind of getting up there. I really don't believe a whole lot in Seize the Gray, and Mugatu, I don't either. So, but again, weird things tend to happen underneath in this race. We've seen it over and over and over. Things that we probably couldn't predict have happened in those underneath spots.
Brick says if Tuscan Gold wins this race, he will eat his TV. So that will be fun to watch.
That's a stomach ache and happening right there. No doubt about it.
That would be hard to do, first of all. I do think, just to play kind of this angle, like, if you liked Muth, don't you kind of have to kind of like Just Steel a little bit? I mean, he finished second to in the Arkansas Derby. He beat Mystic Dan, Just Steel did that day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to go off of like form, he's due to run a good one, right? He's kind of had this little Southwest. He ran good. He got second to Mystic Dan. He ran terrible in the Rebel. He ran second in the Arkansas Derby to Muth, beat Mystic Dan that day. And then the Kentucky Derby, he was awful. So it's like, him winning the race would be somewhat surprising. But if he were to get second, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the flip side, and Lou, I totally agree with this comment. I'll read his. He says he thinks Just Steel is used up, like 12 start already. Rodney's like, how do y'all feel about 4 starts since March for both the Lucas horses? And that is the flip side. And look, I mean, we have been in the game a long time. Unfortunately, we have to say now we've been around a long time, Jared, and we've seen this for 15 years.
Yeah.
Well, shit, even longer, almost 20 now. That Lucas, this is what he does. And there's just a time where it is going to go a little bit south on him. And we even saw it with his high quality ones where he just runs them one time too many and they kind of got to disappear for a while and then they'll come back and be okay again. And this could be it. That is the concern. There's no question about it. I mean, Just Steel seems like he's in every prep race. I know he hasn't been, but it seems like it.
And Silver Charm, like if you watch any of his replays, that's pretty good. I mean, Baffert's right. Baffert's imagination likes to run with horses, not by horses. That's kind of his thing. I don't know that we've ever really seen the bottom of imagination, because he gets out in the lead, or he passes the horse, and then as soon as it kind of looks like, okay, he's going to do his thing and pull away, and then he lets the other horse get up there and whatever. So it's like he's a tough one to trust. If you do like him on top.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like I'm in a good spot with him. I didn't put him on top, but I have him on the pick 5 because I feel like with him, he's either going to do what he's been doing, and it's going to be, oh God, it's going to be a photo. Like, he's running with that horse that's up there right with him, but can he beat him? Like, will he be ahead at the wire or behind at the wire? That's the story of his life. Or, John White, he is over the moon about this horse. He thinks the horse has got it figured out. And if imagination has it figured out and he gets the projected trip that we think he might get, he's gone. And I'm going to be smiling all the way down the stretch. So that's just it, right? I mean, it's like, if he runs with horses, he still could win. If he's figured it out, he's probably going to win. So that's the thing.
Well, we've talked about, on Blinkers Off this week, it's like, well, he's coming into this race, but technically better than a National Treasure was last year coming into this race. The National Treasure went on to win. Of course, went gate to wire, couldn't get to him. Go back, dude. I went back and watched that race a couple times after we, it was like, oh man, like how did he win that race?
It was because it was a bad race.
No, well, probably because he had not a good horse trying to pass him, but yeah. So the point is, like, it wouldn't be. We've seen worse Baffert horses come into this race and win. So I think that's got to be a factor as well. And he's been working well, and we haven't seen him since the beginning of April. He's had month and a half to kind of recoup. Stronghold didn't run terrible in the Derby. Him winning, I think it's not. It would not shock me at all. He's won it 8 times. Bob Baffert has won this race 8 times. They have not all been superstars.
Yeah,
he knows how to win this race. Just like Chad Brown has shown to kind of know how to win this race. You look at him with Tuscan Gold. We'll move to him. Hadn't seen him since March, and you got to like the fact that ran well in the Louisiana Derby again. Not just to remind people, this is a horse that had gone straight from a maiden special weight to that race and really held his own to finish third to Catching Freedom and Honor Marie, who were coming flying out of it but this is the only horse that kind of stayed on in the race. Went straight to that race, and then immediately Chad's like, no, we're not going to the Derby. Like, we're going to point to the Preakness. Like, that's what he does. And so this has been on the radar. Nothing's changed. I think that's a big sign for Tuscan Gold, at least to run. He's ran a better race each of his last races. And so he should technically run another improved race here. And if he does, he's good enough to win.
Yeah, I think with Tuscan Gold, it is all about the Chad Brown factor. So like for me personally, it's like I'm not going to put him in the pick 5, but I'm definitely going to have a pick 4 alive to him for kind of that saver. Hey, if he wins, if he does that Chad Brown progression, I'm still going to be okay here. So I wouldn't be quite upset if he loses. Obviously, your top pick, that'd be nice as well. But for me, again, I went back and I looked at early voting and I looked at cloud computing and I looked at Blazing Sevens and I said, this Tuscan Gold is a hell of a lot like those 3 horses. There's not a ton of difference. Sure, there are differences in all of them, but not much. He could sit there and win this race, no problem. And again, as you play these races over and over and over every year and you build up kind of that 10, 15, 20-year resume, you kind of know Chad Brown's horses are going to pop in the Bluegrass and they're going to pop right here in the Preakness. It's happened over and over and over. So I loved the pick because of the Chad Brown angle. Look, on paper, like Tuscan Gold does not look to be quite as good as a couple of these. He's better than most of them, but the top couple probably not. But Chad Brown's going to get more out of him. You've seen it over and over.
We are 40 minutes to post. We got 3-1 currently on Mystic Dan, your favorite. 7-2 on Catching Freedom. Those are holding pretty steady there. Halterman 4-1s on both the 8 and the 9. So nothing. The money's pretty steady at this point. There's nothing, no big swings. So you got to assume at this point there's a lot of money already in the pool here. So you got to assume that you're going to get kind of the price. I think you're going to get the price on whatever you want on any of these horses. So do you think anybody can is a different word, will go with Imagination? Do you think obviously drawing outside isn't totally ideal, but he gets to the lead. Is Lucas going to be like, no, like you're not Caesar Gray, like we're not going to let you do that? Just I don't know. Just still did the thing in the Derby. You don't think they're going to do it here? So how do you think this thing is going to unfold early in the race?
Yeah, I really feel like Imagination's going to be in front, and maybe Sees the Gray is the one to pressure him, but I really don't think he's going to all that much. I think Imagination will get the front, and then Sees the Gray will be second, but I'm not sure he'll be hounding him. The one thing you got to think about with Imagination, I think sometimes when we think Lone Speed, we think about horses like a Justify or Pharaoh, where they'll get away from you. Imagination has not really, at least up to this point, shown that ability to just run away from a field and separate 3 lengths. I really feel what's going to happen is Imagination's going to set a controlled tempo, be about a length ahead, and then sees the gray is kind of going to be there in second, not really pushing him, but Imagination's not really going to run away. And again, I think it'll just come down to they're going to turn for home. Imagination's going to have that lead. And will he kick or will he wait? And I think that's going to be the question that we're going to answer. But I think he will break sharp enough and be fast enough to get over to the rail before they get to the first turn.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember that, Imagination's a horse that, doesn't necessarily need the lead. And he's never finished worse than second. His whole career, he's never finished worse than second. Now, he's only won twice out of those, but at the same time, like, not a lot of these horses in this field, it's like none of them could say that, So, he's a horse that's been consistent. He kind of runs his race. You got to think he'll, at the very least, when they hit the top of the stretch of the Pimlico, he'll be there. Like, he'll be in the lead. And it'll be like, okay, who's going to catch me? And Tuscan Gold appears to be the horse that will be like, get first dibs, right? Because as much as you probably think and could, I think it's probably fair that Catching Freedom will be closer. Because one, it's a smaller field. Two, they know they can't be that far back. And obviously Mystic Dan too, like, they're not going to be incredibly far back. But Tuscan Gold is going to get the first swing at Imagination. And I think the question mark you have, I have, whoever, is will the 3 and the 5, will Catching Freedom, will Mystic Dan be able to have, you're going to have to hope that both those horses don't have it, the 8 and the 9, because you're going to have to run both of them down in order to win this thing.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I honestly believe for Mystic Dan, Catching Freedom, like you said, they're going to have to hope that it's not Chad Brown, Bob Baffert 1-2 all the way around this track like it was last year, because we've seen it firsthand. It's going to be tough to get them. And look, like you said it, we kind of saw it last year with a couple of horses. Now, National Treasure turned out to be a very good horse. He is a very good horse. He's still running. But at the time, National Treasure had not been close to winning a stakes race. And he came in here and won. And Blazing Sevens was not a good horse. And he came here and almost beat him. So at this point in their careers, these two horses are better than what we saw last year from Brown and Baffert.
The top two. Yeah, there you go. All right. So something that we need to discuss, because Jared reminded me, and I had it listed that I wanted to talk about it. So the Mystic Dan loves the mud talk, right?
Yeah.
Because that was a huge thing heading into the Derby. And it was because, if you guys remember heading into the race, it was like, well, there's a chance of it's going to, obviously Friday was, but the track's going to be off, and who loves the mud? Well, we know Mystic Dan loves the mud. I mean, he had the second best performance of any horse in the Derby, aside from Fierceness. And that was the Southwest, and it was in the mud. And so you're like, well, okay, well then the Derby ended up being fast track, and he still won. So do you play any aspect of that into, like, okay, Mystic Dan is getting the track that we at least know he likes, and he does have, whether if you think he likes it or not, that is the best performance of anyone in this race, and that was on the sloppy, muddy surface at Oaklawn that day.
Look, it can't hurt, right? It simply cannot hurt that he gets this track today. Now, my kind of what I'll say, kind of my be careful a little bit with just, he's an automatic win now because it's sloppy. I'm not quite sure he's just a slot monster, because he's ran 3 huge races in his career. 2 of them came over a fast track. So just because it's sloppy doesn't mean he's just going to absolutely roll, in my opinion. Now, again, though, does it hurt? Absolutely not. If I was his owner, I'd be smiling from ear to ear that this track is how it is. So I'm not going to sit here and say, it doesn't matter. It does. And look, there was a question a while back, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who asked it, but the question was it slop that day at Oaklawn or mud, or was it a rail bias? And look, when the track is sloppy or muddy at Oaklawn, the rail is gold most days. And McPeak has won specifically the Southwest rallying up that rail before. It reminded me a lot of that. So yeah, that it could have been a little bit of a bias track that day as well. Or guys, it just could be Mystic Dan is an inconsistent horse. And when he fires, whether it's fast or sloppy, he is going to roll. And when he doesn't fire, he's going to be off the board. That's kind of what his career has been. So again, long answer here. I think you got to be happy if you're playing Mystic Dan and the track's wet. It's not going to hurt him. We know that. But I don't necessarily think it means he's guaranteed to win either.
I mean, anytime you have the surface where it's like, well, we know the horse likes it. We know the horse won't not like it, right? And so that's an aspect for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean that like it moves him forward. I'm kind of with you. I don't really know that means anything, to be honest. But again, like I said, some of these horses may not like this surface. Imagination may not like this surface. He's never experienced this kind of track, right? Yeah. And so you just don't know. We know Mystic Dan will at least like it, right?
Yep, absolutely. I think when you look at this, Catching Freedom, Mystic Dan, they should like it. And Tuscan Gold's bred to like it. So
this is, I pulled up the Southwest replay here up on the screen from Twin Spires. Of course, if you guys have not, go over to twinspires.com, enter promo code DUDES, DUDES, and get a up to $200 match on your first deposit. And they also have the money back special running right now. So if you bet a horse in your first race or your first bet and it doesn't win, you get your money back up to, I think it's like $10 to $20. I don't know. But you can go to twinspires.com to learn more and make sure you use promo code DUDES. But you can see here, the track definitely was definitely a mess.
Yeah. We're waiting for him here. He's just biding his time right now.
He's just hanging out.
He definitely runs a race where you go, oh, yeah, that was great.
Yeah. He just wait. And it's like the dude like continues to find the rail, right? Like this, like he loves these little rail, and then slips through and see you later.
Yeah. You watch this race; it's very similar to how he won the Kentucky Derby. You turn for home, you're like, oh, just he's gonna win, and it's like, oh no, he's not. He's not gonna get close.
This horse,
because here goes that little horse on the rail.
Like just took off. Yeah, it was over.
That can happen.
He ran I think it was a 101 buyer that day. He ran a 100 in the Derby. If he can do that, it's big if he can run that kind of race, it's over. And we said that about Fierceness too, in the Derby. If Fierceness runs his race, well, forget about it,
Mm-hmm.
He didn't, So, that's the question.
Yeah, and you certainly, I think, Jared, you said Jared Clemens, and I should specify there. You said you're going to bet him, and look, seeing that race, you got to be like, yeah, for sure, I'm going to bet him. That track looks just like what we have right now. It's a similar field size. He's in a spot where he could probably do the same up the rail thing again that he's been doing. Why can't he win?
Yeah.
Okay, and we talked about it on Thursday. Are the horse gods lining up for this horse? Maybe Muth scratches. He gets the sloppy track again. He gets a post. I don't really think it matters. I don't think he has to go up the rail, but he gets a post where he can do the same thing again. You get to thinking, I don't know, maybe this is lining up for him.
All right, so let's at least have I didn't even see this comment first, and now I start talking about it. So I'll bring it up because I've seen a few comments about Uncle Heavy. So it's time we talk about Uncle Heavy. Uncle Heavy went into the Wood Memorial at 10-1 that day. Ran fifth. Didn't run particularly well, but did win the Withers Halterman, and has won on a he actually won twice on a good and a muddy surface, and kind of somewhat dominating fashion. Now, again, the wood was not good. What do you – obviously 7-1 off the 21 morning line is just insanity. But just take the odds out. What do you think of his chances?
I know people are looking at the two kind of off tracks and be very excited about that. And I know people are looking at the tough trip and saying, well, that's what happened in the wood. But for me, guys, he's not fast enough. Like for any metric, I kind of looked at it. And to be honest, when Irad got aboard, that's when I stopped and said, okay, let's get a little bit of a closer look. And I really studied it. I watched his replays. I do not think Uncle Heavy's a bad horse. I don't want to sound like, oh, he's no good, because he's not. He is. He's decent, but he really isn't that great, though. But the thing about it is, if he wins today, It means one of two things. The other horses came down to his level, or he jumped up and ran a race much bigger than he's been running. Like, think about the muddy win in the Withers. Yeah, it was a nice win. He won in the mud in the Withers. That's great. It was not, that wasn't a good race. None of those horses came back to do anything. He won by a nose. He just barely was able to catch El Grande O. Like, yeah, I know it's a win in the mud, and it was going a mile and an eighth. All good stuff. What does that really mean for today? Like, if he's running last week, let's say in the Peter Pan, you go, okay, maybe, but it's a tough level. This is by far the best race he's been in, by far. So he's going to have to improve. That's the bottom line of it. And look, it's a huge improvement, and he's 7-1. It's not for me.
Yeah, it's not for me at all either. So I listen. I think with Uncle Heavy, it's going to be a factor of if he wins. And you kind of said it. If he wins, it means that literally he won the race of his life, and 2, the other horses didn't run. Plain and simple. And that means Catching Freedom didn't run, and that means Mystic Dan didn't run, and that means Tuscan Gold didn't run, and that means Imagination didn't run. So it's a lot of ifs and ands to happen. Now, could he get second? Could he get third? Sure. I have no problem with using him, sprinkling him underneath. Say you like him, say you like Tuscan Gold, say you like Mystic Dan, play him underneath, whatever you have with that. I don't have really a problem with that, but him winning would be somewhat of a surprise, especially him winning at 7-1 just feels dirty, because you're like, if you got that right, you're like, you still didn't get rewarded for it. 7-1 is a gross price on a horse of that caliber. Mystic Dan now at 5-2. As our boy Kenny McPeak on screen there, 5-2 on him, 7-2 on Catching Freedom, and 4-1s on Tuscan Gold and Imagination holding steady there.
Yeah, and one other thing I would say about Uncle Heavy, I think he's getting some public money. And why I say that is I went on VSiN for a spot earlier today, and the producer was like, hey, I really want to bet Uncle Heavy. I just think that's a hilarious name. And, I think he is getting a little bit of that. That was somebody that, she doesn't follow it. She's just like, I think that's hilarious. So that could be part of it as well. But, I've seen a lot of, like Somich has him in 4th. Like, so, I mean, it's like, I've seen a lot of people kind of make a case for this horse. And again, they're 3-year-olds. They could jump up and run huge races. That's kind of the maddening part of 3-year-old racing. And also what makes it fun. So look, I mean, can he jump up and run the race of his life? Sure. Well, he definitely can. But do I think it's likely? No.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have some people, like all the people that bet Dan because they had a buddy named Dan or whatever, are like, well, my uncle's here, I'm playing the uncle horse, and so yeah, there's some possibilities there. So they're getting saddled right now as we speak. 25 minutes to post to Preakness 149. We've talked a lot about this this week, and Mystic Dan obviously looking to win the second leg here of the Triple Crown, and would head to Saratoga next to. That's right, you heard me right. To run in the Belmont Stakes for the Triple Crown, going assuming they would run, which I imagine they would, at 1.25 miles. So lots of changes this year because of the Belmont Park being renovated. So that would be an interesting thing in itself. I mean, no matter what, whether it be a Triple Crown on the line or not, it's going to be awesome to be there for the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga in June. But if we have a Triple Crown on the line, that's insanity.
It's going to be quite the scene no matter what. But yeah, that would just be an amazing situation if that happened. And that I can't even imagine. And that's why a small part of me is like, hey, let's root for him, right? Because it would be cool. And it's great for racing to have a Triple Crown attempt. I think that's always really good. And look, I think as the week has went on, I've liked him more and more. And that's why on the Saver Pick 4 ticket, I put him on there because I thought, you know what? If you get here and you knocked out of that Pick 5 where you used your 2 strongest opinions, if you're going to play a saver pick 4, you might as well put Mystic Dan on it. That's what a saver is for, to play your backups, right?
Yeah.
And so, look, I mean, if he runs his best race, he can win, and he probably will win, honestly, if he runs his best, absolute best.
Well, if you just plain and simple look at what the body is of work and not assuming like say Tuscan Gold, that's the reality. Like Tuscan Gold, if he wins, that means he ran another improved race off of his improvements. Same with Catching Freedom, probably needs to improve just a little bit. Imagination needs to improve a little bit. Mystic Dan has 2 races, not one, but 2 races under his belt that could win this race, and I think that's a huge factor. Because but again, we said that with Fierceness in the Derby, like he was the one that if he ran that race, they have no chance. And let's be honest, if he would have ran that race, Mystic Dan would have ran second because Fierceness would have won, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just kind of the reality. So if you do believe that none of these horses will take a step forward, if you don't really necessarily believe that these horses are all that good, well, I mean, yeah, Mystic Dan sitting there at 3-1. I mean, listen, I'm not a huge McPeak player at short prices, but 3-1 on the Derby winner is not terrible.
It's not. And this is actually the second year in a row where the Derby winner doesn't get a lot of play in the Preakness. Because remember, we sat here last year for an hour talking about, wow, Mage, they're really not betting him, and again, last year, Mage looked like a pretty big standout before they opened the gates. And then before we learned that, the Derby was an absolute freak performance and he's not very good. The one thing about it, Mystic Dan has better races on his resume than Mage had before he won the Derby. So, Mystic Dan is still an inconsistent horse, but he has had some races where he looks really good. When you look at his resume, it's similar to who you just mentioned, Fierceness. When he runs bad, it's not, wow, they don't need to ever run that horse again bad. It's just like a normal bad.
I mean, do you take any, there was always been a thought that the Preakness is like the most like true and logical race of the 3, like obviously the Derby's a mile and a quarter. You got the 1.5 miles at Belmont, not this year. But this race seems to be the most like the best horse will win this race. It's a smaller field. The Derby always has factors of field sizes and traffic and all the things, post positions. Here, it's like you got pretty much a regular race. You got a distance that's a little bit more manageable. So, with that all kind of said, who is the best horse in the race?
That's a great question. I think from a resume standpoint, I think Catching Freedom is the overall best horse. I think he's a little more consistent. I think he's beaten a little bit better of a caliber of horse. I know people are going to go, Mystic Dan won the Derby. When it comes to handicapping, the Derby's data point is usually not that meaningful. Now, let me make sure you understand what I just said. The Derby is the most meaningful race there is, okay? But I'm talking from a handicapping data standpoint. Things happen in the Derby that don't happen in normal races. So when you look at their quote-unquote normal races, Catching Freedom has been a little bit better. So I think he's the best, but I don't think he has the most upside. I think Imagination has the most upside. And it's just, can he put it together? That's the question. Can he decide today is the day where I don't care about running with the other horses? When they ask me to go, I'm going to get away from them. And if that is today, then they're going to have a hard time catching him.
That's interesting. That's it. Yeah, I mean, he's the one that you don't really know what he is yet. And I thought it was so interesting that John had made, if you guys had, if you saw it in his Express Bet column this week, but like he even said, I mean, his pick is Imagination in the race, but he's like, I was picking Imagination prior to Muth scratching from the race. And that, I mean, that to me was like, whoa, I don't really have any issue with it regardless, but I don't have an issue with him picking Imagination now. I mean, if he would have said, well, Muth was a horse, but now it's Imagination. Yeah. But the fact that was it, I mean, that's, I don't know. I took note of that.
Well, a little birdie told me, and you know him, a little birdie mutual friend told me that John was going to pick Imagination. And sometimes that little birdie gets carried away. And so I didn't really listen to him too much. This was before Muth scratch. So when the article came out and John stated in the article, yes, I was going to pick Imagination no matter what. honestly, after we sat here and listened to John talk about Forever Young, it's like, well, he convinced me of that horse and it almost came through. I didn't need a whole lot of convincing on Imagination, but that was the final. Okay, look, don't let him beat you. You don't have to play him on top. Don't let him beat you. You're dumb if you do that. So that's where I was, and that's why he landed on all the big tickets I should say. So look, I mean, when John is super, super confident on a race, that does not mean it's an automatic win. I want to make that very clear. But what it means is a very good handicapper who's done this for 100 years and has always been very good, likes the source. Well, pay attention at least.
I mean, yeah. Listen, we have 18 minutes to post at 5-2 with Mystic Dan. 4-1s. Those 4-1s, dude, are staying steady.
Yep.
On Tuscan Gold Imagination. That seems to be what you're going to get there. 7-2 on Catching Freedom. Really seems like you're going to look at like 3-1, 7-2, 5-2, 7-2, somewhere in there. But it definitely feels like Mystic Dan will go off the favorite, lukewarm favorite, I guess we could say, with Catching Freedom being the second choice. But dude, it's crazy. Like these odds, like they're not really, other than Mystic Dan kind of going back and forth a little bit with Catching Freedom. These odds are not wavering on any of them. Like all of them, every horse is pretty much staying steady.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, Mystic Dan, that drop, like you mentioned, but other than that, I mean, there's no change for any of the horses. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. The computer assisted wagering has played a factor in all these races at Pimlico this week. But with this much money in the pool, I'm not sure how much it will play a factor in this one, but we'll see about that. By the way, there is $13 million in the win pool now. So we are approaching the situation to where, as we're 16 minutes to post, we're approaching the situation now. It's going to take a sizable wager to really move these odds dramatically. So what you see on the screen, it's more than likely it's going to be around there for post time.
All right, I need a refill, and I have no bartender here. They're off duty. They went home.
Your children.
So take it away, and I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good. So, one horse that I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit, because I do think when you look at Imagination, he has consistently been towards the front. I do think the My Racehorse own Seize the Gray is super interesting as far as how this race is going to play out, right? So Seize the Gray, last time out, set right off, very fast fractions, going one turn in the Pat Day Mile at Pimlico. To me, that if he won, that's the other big part of it, right? He won the race. So why would you go away from that strategy after you win a race? I don't think he will. So again, I think Imagination does project to have that great trip that everybody wants. If you're betting him, everybody wants. I think the 6 Seize the Gray is your main worry. I really don't see Mugatu, Uncle Heavy, Catching Freedom. Maybe Mystic Dan pressures a bit, but probably not. He's going to sit a little bit off of it. No Way, Just Steal. Maybe Tuscan Gold lays a little bit closer. But if your Imagination better, your biggest fear early, I'm talking early in this race, is the 6 Seize the Gray. Because if he does soften him up, they soften each other up. It does bring Mystic Dan, Catching Freedom, Tuscan Gold into the fray a little bit more. So that'll be very interesting. When you're watching this race live, you're going to keep your eyes glued on the 9 and the 6 and kind of see how they go out there. And then that'll tell the story of what kind of pace we're going to get in this one. The live stream is showing, if you're watching it live, they are showing number 7, Just Steal, right now. And he looks tremendous. He always does. Out of the 2 Lucas horses, based on looks, how they're put together, the 7 has always kind of looked a little bit better than the 6. Now, it's not a beauty contest. That doesn't mean anything really, but the 7, he looks great out there. So, if you're backing him to try to get into the money here, he looks good. And also, look, Joel Rosario gets aboard. Not a bad pickup jockey, right? To get Joel Rosario aboard Just Steal. Current look at the odds as we kind of count down here, 14 minutes to post, 13 minutes to post. The horses are in the infield getting ready to go out on the track. Current look on the odds, a favorite still 5-2 on Mystic Dan, 7-2 Catching Freedom, and then 4-1 on Tuscan Gold and Imagination. So, as you sit here right now, not a lot of change in these horses. It's 16 Mugatu. That is 16-1. That's the highest priced horse in this field of 8. Jared asks, are you live to anything here? Yeah, this is a huge race. For me, I'm alive in the pick 5 to the 3 and the 9. So I'm alive in the pick 5 to Catching Freedom and Imagination. And then I'm alive in the pick 4 to Catching Freedom, Mystic Dan, Tuscan Gold, and Imagination. So it's a big race. I'm pretty nervous. Really, any of those would be okay. Going to show a profit, but the 3 or the 9 winning this race would be huge. Hunter Hill just put $200 on Imagination to win right now. And again, Hunter, you're going to be watching the 9, how he breaks, and then watch that 6 and see if he's going to come up and pressure. If he doesn't, you're going to be smiling. So we'll see what happens. All right. Thanks, Jared. And man, I miss seeing you, Jared. We usually see you. Haven't been to the Derby in a while. Maybe have to break that streak next year. For sure. This is kind of it's nerve-wracking when you're alive to stuff like that. That's for sure. It always is nerve-wracking, but when you're alive to payouts like that, it's very nerve-wracking for sure. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Like I said, they're still in the paddock right now. If you're just tuning in, we're not showing the race live. We cannot show the race live. It is going to start in 11 minutes. We're 11 minutes to post. So we will see what happens. And one of the big traditions is Jared Welch and I talking to Jared Clemens after the race and, during the day, as Jared's always working on that day. So, okay, you're back. You can talk now.
I'm back. Got my refill. So I was watching a little bit of the feed there, the NBC feed. So I did see our boy, what's his name? The younger guy on NBC.
I don't know.
Matt Bernier.
Okay.
789. He played that exacta box. 789.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that theory in terms of he's basically taking out the 2 favorites, and then you're throwing in Just Steel in there as well. So I mean, there's some value to be had there with those horses running anyway. How about that? How about a little Ray Lewis?
Ray Lewis, that's right. Ray Lewis called to post here. Riders up. There you go. Well, he is a Baltimore guy.
So is that the first murderer to be doing call to post, or do you know?
It's not the first criminal because we had Martha Stewart call up the post for the Kentucky Derby. So the Daily Double criminal call to post.
What a year! Who's going to do the Belmont?
Yeah.
In the comments, guys, give us your Belmont. Who's your call to post Belmont? Which criminal would you like to see do it?
Ooh, who would be the criminal for the Belmont? Gotta be somebody from New York, right?
Yeah, OJ. I think OJ. They did have OJ lined up, and then of course he couldn't do it. He couldn't be there. So it's funny. I saw all the comments. And Donald Trump. That
well,
Diddy. I like Matt. I like Diddy. Diddy would be great.
Oh, Diddy. Well, Diddy's in.
Who's some New York guys? Who's a New York guy that makes sense? I mean, I guess it's not in New York City this year, but who's some guys that we could do it with?
Oh, how about this? Chad Brown's a New Yorker. Maybe just let him do it.
How about Scotty Scheffler?
Yeah.
Too soon or no?
Andrew Cuomo. There's another one. Yeah.
Bernie Madoff.
All right, guys. We're not. Let's move away from the political ones.
Miranda, I beat you. All right, we got 13 minutes to post. 5-2 on your favorite there, seen on the screen if you're watching the feed, the track feed. 7-2 on Catching Freedom. Those 4-1s holding steady on 8 and 9. Let's see, Halterman. Let's construct a little. The Derby we were. We swung and missed right on our tickets, but we'll come back again here. Let's put out let's put our minds together here. Let's get a ticket or two how we're going to play this race.
Okay. Well, what do you want to do?
Well, I mean, you and I are if you take our top picks, it's a 3 and the 8.
Mm-hmm.
So I I don't love. I mean, but again, I don't love catching Freedom on top. I like him underneath. So imagination not having him on top is somewhat of concern. But you have imagination. Do you have him on top in any tickets?
I have him. Yes, I have my ticket would have the 3-9 on top, and then horses underneath.
Okay, so let's do the. Let's play one ticket here with 3 and 8. That's our top picks, and then underneath. I mean, we could just. Do you want to include Mystic Dan?
I maybe in third.
Well, okay, we're playing a try. All right.
I would go. If we're gonna do it based on our top picks, I think it's 3, 8, 3, 8, 9, and then long shot in third.
Yeah, I like it. And then we can do 3, 8, 9, 5, 3, 8, 9, or 3, 5, 8, 9 in third. Yeah. Do you want to do that?
I mean, yeah.
It's not going to pay anything though. That's the problem.
No. Well, that's the Preakness. Like it's tougher to get the payouts. I mean, you also could just hammer like a 3-8 over 3-8-9 just and play it for a decent amount, or do well, I'm trying to think here. The problem is we're too different. Our picks are too different to combine here,
I know. So let's do it this way then. So
Okay.
instead of combining, let's put out a pick for each of us.
Okay. Yep.
So give me your whatever it is, a win, a try, an exacta. What's the thing? What's the bet of this Preakness for you?
3-9. Flip it. 9-3. I would just do that. I think that's the exacta. I think that exacta is coming in. So I do the 9 over 3, and then I do the 3 over 9. And then no, that's what I do. I've got to take a stand here. It's gonna, let me see. Hold on. Let me see what this is gonna pay. As I said, I don't need to guess. I have probables right in front of me. The 3-9 pays 18. The 9-3 pays 19. Okay. What if I did a 3 over 8-9? No, just a 3-9 exacta box. I think that's the play.
3-9 exacta box.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me write that down.
I really, really, really feel that the 9 has the upside.
I know.
It's
you.
just
I
don't.
I can tell you do.
I just don't trust him because he just hasn't been able to separate himself. But if he can, I don't think they'll catch him.
Let's see. Let me look at these Will Pace.
Let's see, still 5 minutes to post. We still basically these odds are unchanged. So I think what you see is what you're going to get. We're now got $15 million in the pool, in the win, just the win pool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not paying.
There's the one. Mugatu's a pretty horse. He's a very pretty horse. He's skipping along the track. Look out. Longest shot on the board. And that's the problem with the Triple Crown races now. Longest shot on the board 16-1. That sucks. Like if this was the Bluegrass, that horse would be like 30-1.
Dude, I know. That's what I was saying. Like, you're just not getting any sort of reward for, even if you're right on like Uncle Heavy, you're like, well, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not bad to be right, but
no.
You should have got more for it, Yep.
It sucks that that's what's happened with your longer prices. But like I said, if you're right at 16-1 or 7-1, even who cares? You're right, but it's not what you should be getting.
No. Let's see. Are these for $1? Yeah.
Boy, this track is messy.
It's tough to play that too heavy.
They have the track listed as muddy. It's got to be sloppy. Like it doesn't look good. Yeah. Alex said the same thing. You're probably watching that. Obviously, you're watching the same feed I am. It's like, this doesn't look muddy to me. It looks sloppy. It looks nasty out there. And it's one of those days where it just rained off and on the whole day. It just never could dry out.
All right. 8-9 over 7-8-9 for me.
Okay. 7-8-9.
Listen, I fully am. I like Catching Freedom. I like Mystic Dan. Definitely could, but from a value perspective, to me, those are what makes the most sense. 8 over 9 is paying 17-1. 9 over 8 is paying 18-1. But if you get the 7 involved anywhere, it's like 46 and 56-1.
Yeah.
So I'm throwing in the 7 because I think crazier things have happened from a underneath type horse. Yeah. But again, like to me, the 8 and 9 are my 2 top plays, right? Those are the 2 I can't. Yeah, I want to use the 3 underneath. I want to use the 5 underneath, but those are also all paying pretty similar. Mm-hmm. And so I just, those are my opinions. I got to take a stand, right? So.
Yep. I like it. Look, I mean, and again, if Mystic Dan wins, those 2 tickets lose, but you have to take a stand on your opinions, and that's horse racing. That's horse betting. It's not just one race. It's every day. You got to play with those ideas in mind. People are asking 2 minutes to post. It's 2 minutes to post right now. Horses are on the track, kind of starting to head towards the gate. So,
all right.
Don't have a place to watch it. Try to find a place now, as there's now 1 minute to post.
Get nervous.
Yeah, this is always the Triple Crown races always bring a different element of nerves. There's no doubt about it. I personally, I was surprised that this field kind of shaped up. Even when Moose scratched, it's like, this is a very interesting field, at least. I wish he was here today, but this is very interesting.
I know. By the way, guys, it's worth mentioning before the race goes off. No matter what, win or lose, if we see Mystic Dan heading for the Triple Crown or not, we will be there for the Belmont Stakes. Halterman and I will be there at Saratoga. So if you're thinking about going, you want to hit us up, we'll be there. So first time I've ever been to Saratoga in June. So that's fun.
Yeah, me too. Well, I may have been there, but not at the track. I can't remember.
Well, yeah, you've definitely been there.
Yeah. I went one time in December, and there was so much snow on the ground you could even see the lines on the road at all. Like you were just guessing where to drive downtown. It was crazy. And right as we get to post here, the sun is starting to peek out for the first time today, and it's blinding. It's reflecting over the track there. So that's pretty funny. 0 minutes to post now, so it is time. Don't suck on this call of the race. We don't really call it, so we can't suck. We'll describe what's happening. We'll see how it goes.
All right, boys and girls, almost 3,000 of you in here. Appreciate you guys. We will not be showing the race, but we will be kind of analyzing it as they run. Halter and I are watching the track feed. We're not watching the NBC feed because it is delayed. So if you are watching that, you'll either want to switch on over to that feed or mute us, because don't leave. We want you still in here, but just mute us, because we've tried to watch the NBC feed, and it's like it's delayed. So we got to go to the track feed. So we're at 0 minutes to post. You can see down below, those are kind of Halter and I's plays in the race, top plays. I am on Tuscan Gold as my top pick. I just believe the Chad Brown progression here is he's going to run a better race than he's been running. He's going to have first dibs at Imagination, who should be on the lead. Halterman, your top pick is?
I went with Catching Freedom. I think the setup will be just enough. I'm a little bit worried what Imagination will do. Will he wait on horses again? And if he does, I think Catching Freedom is going to be the one finishing the fastest. So I went with number 3, Catching Freedom.
All right.
I don't know what they're doing. It's time. It's time to go. So it's always nerve-wracking, like you said, and when you're alive to pick 4s and 5s, it's even worse because you got that long wait, and then it's just like I'm just ready for this to run. Like I hate this feeling of am I going to win or lose? And I mean, when you're us, you this is 24/7. Like our whole channel. Like if you come in here on Monday, we'll have horse racing videos for you. So this is not. It's just us dropping in for a day, you know.
Oh man, it never fails, dude. It never fails. No matter if I've got $1 million on the bet on the line here for the race, or if I've got nothing, these big races just they make me very nervous.
Yeah, me too. I'll be glad when they break out of the gate. They are finally loading. And look, I mean, if you're a horse racing person and you're not excited for one of the Triple Crown races, then you're probably doing it wrong, right? So,
yep. And obviously, we'd like to have Muth in the race, but let's be honest, guys. Over the past couple of years, this really isn't a bad Preakness race. It's a nice race.
No.
You got the Derby winner, you got the 4th place finisher, you got a couple new shooters that are nice horses as well entering the mix. Yeah, you don't have Muth, but I mean, I do think this is a pretty solid test.
Well, and again, like I said earlier, from a betting standpoint, there's no way I'm alive to this kind of money if Muth's in the race. So,
right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right. But if Muth's in the race, I feel a little bit better about cashing it because I liked him. So there's that side of it too. I'm not quite as nervous. All right. The last one's loading, guys.
All right. There goes Imagination. They're in. They're off.
Ooh. It looked like Just Steel came out a little bit, but everybody's okay. Imagination starting to cross over, and it looks like it's going to be him and Seize the Gray. Mystic Dan probably going to sit about 3rd here, and at this point, it looks like Seize the Gray may set the pace.
Vittoria made a very, I don't know exactly what he's doing, to be honest. He made a decision. It looks like he's kept the horse very wide. I guess he wants to stay on the middle of the track. But he also made a very clear decision. He looked over at Torres on Seize the Gray and said, you know what? It looks like he's going. We're not going to try to get to the lead. So Imagination sits off of him very wide throughout here, Halterman, a length back behind Seize the Gray. Mystic Dan, look where else, on the rail in 3rd, Just Steel to his outside, Catching Freedom, closer, right? Closer than he has been because of the smaller field. But in Tuscan Gold, sitting there near the back of the pack, 3rd to last.
Yeah, it's interesting. Frankie's riding Imagination like he's the best horse in the race. There's no doubt, keeping him wide and just like, hey, we're going wide and we'll make our move. Seize the Gray, Lucas on the lead. He's on the lead and he's widening a little bit here. We'll see what happens.
Seize the Gray
making a move up the rail. There goes Mystic Dan.
So Tuscan Gold isn't going to fire. I don't know why he was so far back. Yeah, we're gonna have a couple options here. Here comes Mystic Dan. Imagination is not gonna get there. Doesn't look like. Guys, Seize the Gray is gonna be tough customer up front.
He's looking really good.
Catching Freedom, trying to get
bear down. Catching Freedom,
trying to get going.
Oh, come on, 3. Come on.
Seize the Gray is gonna wire the Preakness, guys.
Well, 3 is trying to make up the ground late. Mystic Dan trying to make the ground late. Seize the Gray. My racehorse, D. Wayne Lucas
wins the Preakness. Holy
again.
Shit.
And all my tickets are dead, but I am very happy that the coach has done it again.
With Seize the freaking Gray. Seize the Gray just won Preakness 149 after winning last out off 2 weeks layoff as well. Another 2-weeker, but he did not run in the Derby. He ran in the Pat Day Mile. So we saw him on the undercard of the Derby, and D. Wayne says, you know what? We're going to run him right back into the Preakness, and look what it did, Halterman.
Unfreaking believable.
Seize
the Gray
Mystic
win.
Dan got 2nd. Now it's tight. Tuscan Gold actually did get 4th. Like I don't know what his deal was. I don't know. He was never on the lead or never close to the lead. I don't know if he missed a break. Yeah, he did kind of miss the break. Looks like. Wow.
Imagination nowhere to be found. I don't know what that was from him. Wow. You said at the top of the stretch, and I totally agreed. Seize the Gray is just doing it easy on the front. Incredible. And Jared, did this not remind you of Oxbow a little bit when he did it?
I think I had he was in my mind whenever they turned for home, because whenever when they turned and he was widening, I was like, this is not going to be easy, right? If someone certainly can come get him, but it's going to take an effort. And here's the thing, dude. The two horses, the two Mystic Dan and Catching Freedom, were kind of what maybe you even were worried about with Catching Freedom, what they were, right? Just a little short. Just didn't quite have that to get there. The problem was, you and I probably both assumed the 6 was going to be Imagination.
Exactly.
Right? And so
if you flip it,
or Tuscan Gold, or whoever you think is going to be forwardly placed, and neither one of them were there, and it was Seize the Gray.
If you flip it and it's Imagination, you're like, nailed it. Because Mystic Dan, Catching Freedom, Tuscan Gold. Hey, what do you know? Flashback to 2 weeks ago where we had the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, and we didn't have the winner. Once again, the same thing happened. And look, he got the trip that we thought Imagination would get. We thought he would be very, very comfortable, but we thought it'd be Imagination. Like I said, it Seize the Gray. So guys who are asking, Seize the Gray, number 6, Seize the Gray has won the Preakness for Dwayne Lucas. Mystic Dan 2nd, Catching Freedom 3rd, Tuscan Gold 4th, Just Steel 5th.
That's insane. That's insane.
I can't believe it.
I mean, Seize the Gray, you're 9-1, just barely bet harder than Just Steel at 10-1. I don't know, man. Imagination, the way that was an interesting ride, I guess. I guess when you look back at it now, you can say that, because he rode him like he was way the best, and maybe he just didn't like the surface or whatever. Who knows? But he literally had he was getting swallowed up before they got out of the turn.
It was incredible. When they turned for him, I was like, well, Imagination's not firing, but I still thought in my mind, one of these horses is going to go get him. He just wouldn't slow down. I mean, it's unbelievable. Went out there, sat those fractions. Nobody went and got him. And again, it's the flip of what happened, because we were thinking, well, hopefully, for Imagination bettors, he gets out in front and Sees the Gray doesn't pressure him, and it flipped. And and Frankie didn't pressure him.
almost 24 flat, 47 in 3, almost 112 flat, little faster. Ran the mile 137 in 3/4, or 3/5. But listen, they weren't flying, but they weren't going slow. Imagination set wide the whole way, and Seize the Gray just kind of did his thing. Like I said early in the race, you could tell the Tory looked over at Torres on just Seize the Gray and said, "Okay, like, you're taking it. Okay, that's fine. We'll sit off." And obviously never looked back. So
nope.
Very Oxbow-esque. You said it earlier. So again, like, it's just one of those cases that not exactly surprising that the 3 and the 5 didn't quite have that umph. I mean, listen, take nothing away from either one of them. They ran their race, right?
Yeah.
They just were 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
2 weeks. That was tough. Mystic Dan ran well. Like, he did everything right other than get to the winner. I'm just surprised. Here's the thing. Like, he didn't want to run him in the Derby because he didn't think he could go that far.
That's what he said.
and so he ran in the Pat Day. And then you had the feeling of like, well, it's Lucas, so of course he's just going to run him back, right? He's going to run him the Preakness if he can. But he's still, like, he can't get the distance. Wow.
I mean, I can't believe he won. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I think, like, turn it for home. I was like, yeah, he may be a candidate he's going to hit the board here. Like, he's running really well.
Oh, hey, look at this.
He just kept going. Yep.
Oh yeah, that's my boy. That's my boy right there. Signed it for us on the back of a horse. He signed it for us that day.
He's unbelievable. Dwayne Lucas. almost 90 years old, and he's out there winning Triple Crown races. I mean, it's incredible. He just won the Preakness. It's incredible.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think it was like and someone can in the chat can let me know. Like the stat is, it's like it was this season. Well, these two runners were like what starter in the Preakness? I mean, it was like, I feel like it was in the 40s. I mean, just an insane number of how many starters he's had in this race. And guess what? This is what he does. Like, that's why he runs them in this race. Oxbow didn't have much of a chance in the race. Seize the Grace certainly didn't have much of a chance in this race, but don't tell him that, right? That's what does he say? Can't mail him in, right? You got to line them up and run them.
That's right. He gets paid to spoil dreams. That's what he said after Oxbow beat Orb.
Yeah.
We'll see if he has that line again. And
hey, you know his ass will be at Saratoga. You know that.
Absolutely. Probably with both of them. They run them both again.
Here, let me I'll pull up the results here. Hang on. But yeah, that's wow. They'll run him in the Belmont, no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, unless the horse is totally injured. I mean, there's no question that they're going to run him back.
I'm just in shock.
I mean,
it's incredible.
Hey guys, this is what it sounds like for the dudes to be speechless. This is kind of what we are.
I'm so thrilled.
Exactly.
In one regard, it's just like I just for him to just keep winning. It's just amazing, and for him to just keep winning these big races. And how many times have we kind of thought when he would win a big one, be like, that might be it, that might be the last one, guys? We were saying that shit 5 years ago, and he just keeps doing it. I mean, it's incredible. And look, he beat Mystic Dan and Catching Freedom, who ran pretty well.
Yeah, that's the thing. Mystic Dan runs second. Catching Freedom runs third.
Yep.
You had and I'll have to watch the replay back, dude, because Tuscan Gold finishes fourth somehow. I was watching him closely, and I kind of stopped watching him in the turn. It's like, well, I don't know what his deal is, but it's not going to happen. You know, this is a horse that's been very forwardly placed in his career, and so not only is he far back, but he's taking dirt, he's taking mud, whatever. Like, you just could tell it wasn't going to happen. I'll be honest though, dude. For like a half second, not even half second, for like the first half of the race, I thought we're about to see Imagination do, like, Baffert's about to pull one of his little tricks up out of his sleeve. You know, like this horse is about to run off the screen like he does. My only guess is he didn't like the off going, because there was no excuse. I mean, he literally never got close to a horse in the race until he just got sucked under.
I mean, yeah, he was terrible. He was beyond terrible. And you're right. Tuscan Gold kind of had a tough trip. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. I think the start, I mean, obviously I watched the start, but I didn't watch him closely out of the break. So I was kind of watching Imagination, to be honest. So, yeah, I don't know. Something must have happened. That's kind of been the story of my last 2 days, dude. It's been gate horses not getting out of the gate. Frankie lost ground all the way around the track. Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, Ron, you're right. But you know how it is? Like, sometimes when you watch a race and you're like, golly, he's got the horse, like, but he knows that, right? So obviously he's riding him. You mentioned it during the race. You're like, he's riding him like he's going to win for fun, basically. And then, yeah, I mean, obviously the distance or the being wide had no impact on him ultimately, because look how bad he was. But still, I mean, he was not good. Look at that. Here's some payouts. The Exacta paid $59.70, $91.89 for the try, 50-cent try. That's nice. Here's the problem with it's like, if you had it, congratulations, great job. This is not a hard try to get to if you boxed it.
Mm-hmm.
it's a hard try to get to if you played it anywhere straight because,
Yep.
like we talked about, like you could made a case definitely. Cesar Gray finished second, he's finished third, whatever. But him to win, I imagine there's a lot of people that did have him keyed in second and third, and that were begging for Mystic Dan to get up. But who was fourth? Tuscan Gold was fourth. What?
Yeah.
Um,
This ticket here is a brutal one. 200 to win on 3, then $25 exacta, 5, 6, 8, 9, 3 singled in second, and a 3 loses by a nose.
oh,
I tell you, if Seize the Gray isn't there and it's coming down 3-5, and I've got 3 on top, obviously what a sick beat if you had the 3 in second. So I mean that's just
I like that ticket.
Yes.
I like that ticket structure. By the way, I mean I know that doesn't mean shit to you right now, but that was a nice structure to get. Obviously, you were playing him to win, but if he didn't fire, you were playing some horses that you thought could win up front above him. Listen, they're for a hot second. I mean, I'm talking late in the race. I thought he was going to get up.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he's going to grind his way into this thing, and then you could just. Caesar Gray wasn't coming back at all. That was the problem. So,
mm-hmm. I mean, I really, I don't know if it's happy or shocked or the combination of the two just has me like I can't believe that just happened. I mean, I can't believe he stole another one on the front end. I mean, what a legend! What an absolute legend! And I mean, this horse even almost looks like Oxbow out there. It's incredible.
I know, right? It's pretty cool. I'm gonna sit here and watch Dwayne in the winner's circle because who doesn't want to see that, right?
Well, and again, we'll say that might be it for him. Shit, I doubt it.
Here's the thing, dude. Like, there was no part of this year where you're like, well, look at him back there. There's no part of this year where you're like, Lucas got himself a couple good ones.
No.
Like, absolutely not.
No.
But you also, I'm guessing, I thought, it's like, he will try to get him there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the resume this season for Cesar Gray, won an allowance, 3rd in the Jeff Ruby, 7th in the Bluegrass, and then, of course, won the Pat Day in 2 weeks ago. So that's doesn't necessarily scream he's going to win the Preakness, right? And you look at his 2-year-old form, 8th in a maiden, won a maiden at Saratoga. I was standing on the rail that day. 3rd in a stakes, 4th in a stakes, 3rd in an allowance. Like, so there's really it's not a resume that screams I'm going to win the Preakness. It is definitely a decent horse. You knew it coming back that he was decent.
Yeah,
but. Look, and the thing about it is the Pat Day Mile was a weak race with a weak time. It was not a very fast time at all. So this is incredible. It is an incredible win. And I mean, and with Jamie Torres, no offense to Jamie Torres at all. He's a good rider, but all the riders that Lucas has been using, Jamie Torres really isn't one that comes to mind. And he got this horse and away they went. So it's incredible.
Did anybody have him in the fantasy league?
No.
No.
That's
great. That's great.
No.
Yeah, of course not. Why would you? Right.
Yeah. So
Tuscan Gold back in the Belmont. Listen, Silver Charm, before I even comment on that, I'll have to watch it back. I'm pretty disappointed, honestly, in him. Honestly, I think considering what I thought the trip was, he ran to run 4th was okay, but it's obviously a distant 4th. My question would be why he was that far back, so I'll have to watch that back. So
yeah, I think honestly, I didn't really see him, so I would definitely have to watch it. I was watching Dan and Freedom and Imagination for most of it.
I glanced back whenever they turned for home to see kind of where my horses were. And he was like covered in mud, just could tell he was hating life, trying to get any kind of momentum going. So definitely was not a bang up, probably trip for him. But who came in last? Probably Imagination. I don't know. I've not seen if anybody's seen that.
Mm-mm.
Based on what it looked like it was going to happen. he was coming. He was not moving exactly fast late in the race.
I mean, I think he did finish last. I'm trying to find. I'm googling like that. I don't see the full list yet. I bet they put it up here in a minute.
Let's see. I'll try to. I'm watching the finish here. I'm trying to see if I can. Well, Halterman, that's at least we did better in our picks this time than the last one, I guess. But
no, look, it was an absolutely good day that could have been an all timer. And again, it's just the last. Well, no, not last year, but this year, the last two races, these Triple Crowns, we've been all over it, except for the horse that gets to the wire first. And look, I honestly, I know Mystic Dan that he was higher odds than Seize the Gray was. This to me is more of a shock that Seize the Gray won this race today than Mystic Dan last 2 weeks ago.
Dude, they flash over. It's on the NBC feed. I'm watching it. They flash over to Lucas right after they cross the wire, and he's just sitting there. He's just like, cool, I did it again.
I mean, it's not his first win.
Not his first rodeo, is it?
He's been up on this platform so many times. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, it definitely looks like he definitely pulled up Imagination somewhat. I think he did get last. I think it looks like Imagination was last. Yep, I think so.
Man, and my race
he just gave up.
Yeah, I don't know.
He beat the 2. Uncle Heavy beat him barely at the end.
Oh man, that's back in Catching Freedom. That's kind of the race I thought he would run. I just thought that might be good enough to win, and it almost was, but not quite.
I get paid to spoil dreams. We back in the day when Racing Dudes wasn't really a thing, we just did it for fun, kind of. I did like a hype video for the Belmont, and it was it still holds true to be an awesome video. Let's be honest. And it was Oxbow or Orb won the Derby, and then Oxbow won this race. And I put the music and everything together. I think it's probably still on our YouTube channel somewhere. If you search for like Belmont Racing Dudes hype video or something.
Yeah.
But anyways, I pulled the quote, and he's like, I get paid, and he's pumped up obviously when Oxbow wins that, because it was Gary Stevens. It's really cool. He's like, I get paid to spoil dreams.
I'm watching this feed, and I guess Lucas, one of the comments he said was, I don't even know who owns this horse. Oh man, it's just great. It's great. I'm really just thrilled. I've never been more happy to lose a pretty sizable wager. Let's be honest, but well, a sizable payout, I should say. But that's how it goes. I mean, pretty incredible. And listen, tomorrow morning he'll be up on his horse at 88 years old working out horses. I mean, you think this guy is gonna quit doing that? You're crazy.
It means absolutely nothing to him. I mean, it means something to him, don't get me wrong,
sure.
But it doesn't change the game for him at all. So he'll be back doing his thing. He'll be back in 3 weeks. So let's talk a little bit about that. Something.
I can't wait to get off here.
He's not wrong. You're probably like, I don't know who the hell owns this horse, How much were you guys live to again? Oh, Ron, it was a lot. How much was it, Halterman, for
1,500 to the 3, 1,900 to the 9, and then the pick 4s were like Mystic Dan was 3 something, and Tuscan was 8 or 6 or 8, and 3 or 4 for the other ones. I mean, it was a lot.
Oh man, Brick, what's up with what is that about, man? I mean, why you singling me out? My horse got 4th. His horse got 3rd.
Yeah. I don't have any excuses for mine. I mean, he ran a good race.
Yeah. I mean, listen.
I tell you one thing, I'm damn glad Seize the Gray won and it didn't come down to a photo 5-3, because I would be sick right now.
Is this Brick from Anchorman?
I think so.
Maybe. I love Lamp. Yeah. That's brutal. So let's look ahead a little bit at the Belmont. So who do you think's going to run the Belmont?
Whew.
I'd say Mystic Dan's not.
I would say Mystic Dan is out. Yeah. Mystic Dan's out. I would say, I don't know what the deal is with Muth. But if he's healthy, I'd say he'd be in it. Sierra Leone will be your favorite. No doubt about it. Seize the Gray will be in it for sure. Then it's kind of sketchy. Antiquarian, I think, will be in it. Fierceness will be in it. Off the top of my head, that's who I've got.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It sounds like Pletcher's not going to run Mind Frame, and he's going to run your little horse and Fierceness.
Yeah,
Antiquarian and Fierceness. So I don't know. I don't know that we'll see Muth in the Belmont. I see a lot of Muth comments. It's not really like Pletcher or Baffert to send a horse out there unless it's for a Triple Crown.
Right.
So I don't know. I would. Yeah, Muth would have won Brick. Well, I mean, maybe. Seems likely, but you never know.
Anna Marie, somebody just said, I agree with that. Anna Marie will be there. Yep.
Sierra Leone did get back on the work tab, so I would say they might shoot for that as well. Obviously, a lot of these horses are, you start to decide if you're going to go to the Belmont, if you're going to run, aim for the Haskell, which is obviously going to be coming up after. But I don't know. I don't even want. Let's take some time. I don't even want to think about how I'm going to bet Fierceness or how I'm going to handle Fierceness in that race because on the form he is due to run a big one, right? I mean,
absolutely, yeah. He
based
is.
on what we've seen,
yeah. I'm watching this replay back as you're talking, and when Mystic Dan, for a second it did feel like he was going to win, and then for a second it felt like Catching Freedom had the best stride, and then. They just really Seize the Gray starts to put him away again a little bit. Man, incredible.
Yeah, he's a great. I mean, again, it wasn't like they didn't go like ultra fast, but they didn't walk either.
Yeah.
And he had every right to kind of give it up, and he didn't.
No. I forgot. I was gonna Disarm was back today. I meant to watch that. I'm guessing he won very easy. Yeah, he did. He won very easy. So,
man, wow. Well, there you go. Seize the Gray wins the Preakness at 9-1. Probably should have been higher odds. He's 15-1 on the morning line.
Yeah.
Wins the Preakness at 9-1, ending Mystic Dan, who did finish second, ending his run towards the Triple Crown. But guys, we will be back. Obviously, we'll be back every day, but we'll be back in 3 weeks for the Belmont Stakes. So we'll see. No hot dates tonight. I know.
Damn.
My hot dates are my two little boys tonight. So
come on.
Don't worry. Okay. You guys slow play it. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Kevin, solidarity though. If I'm not going on a date, you're not going on a date.
That's right.
Encino's hurt, J.All. Encino is hurt, so that's where he was at. Listen, it's a decision. It's not like what happened. It's a decision. Okay, Kevin.
Okay.
Yeah, you missed the race.
Okay, I believe.
Is it easy to win a filly on a dirt? Okay. Anyways, all right, guys. Thanks for everybody for tuning in.
Are you back on?
No.
Oh. Okay.
No. Tinder's. I'm not cut out for Tinder anymore.
Okay.
It's successful, man. It's rough.
Fair enough.
Have you watched back the race totally?
Yes.
Just what do you think? What's the imagination thoughts on the ride? Is it a ride situation? Is it he didn't fire? Is it a little bit of both?
It's 100% he didn't fire. Like the ride was strange, but if he fires and he finishes like third, well, then you go, well, the ride cost him. But when you're 7th out of 8, I mean, if he hugged the rail, would he have finished 6 out of 8? Like, I don't know, right? Like he didn't run. They asked him to run. He didn't run. So I mean, maybe you can make up a case where, well, if he got on the lead, he would have got comfortable. Well, that's possible, but
is there any thought or any part of you that's like, okay, now we got that over with. There's no Triple Crown on the line. You know, Mystic Dan, like he's probably not going to run the Belmont. You know, like we've got that taken care of. We've had an 18-1, we've had a 9-1 win the first 2 legs. Now we head to Saratoga, clean slate, Belmont. Yes, it's not at a 1.5 miles. It's going to be the 1.25 miles. Who cares? Nothing's on the line necessarily. Part of you is like, okay, that's fine, you know, because now we just got a solid race. And you're going to, I mean, it's Saratoga. You're going to get a solid race.
Yeah.
3 weeks, guys. 3 weeks. Yep. We'll see you at the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in with us. Congratulations to the coach. What number is this? Do you know?
Gosh, I've lost count.
You may know what number this is for Lucas.
It's a bunch.
And they said it on the feed. I
haven't had the sound on.
It's got to be like 6, 5 or 6, 7, somewhere in that ballpark. Because I know Pafford had it like 8, right? So,
man,
not 10.
Is it 10?
No,
I think it's like 6 or 7. Yeah. Hold on, let me look.
Let's look before we get off here.
Okay.
People are not happy with the ride.
Well, look, it wasn't a good ride. I'm not sitting here and saying it was a good ride. What I'm sitting here and saying is the horse also didn't do shit.
Listen, yeah, you're right. I think if he would have ran like he fired and then like didn't quite have it, you're like, well, what are you doing? You know, like, well, you didn't make no effort to save any ground. But I mean, the horse obviously, to me, it looked like a horse that didn't like the surface. You know, I mean, I don't know if that's the whole reason, but Bafford's going to have a horse running better than that. And so and it seemed like he spun his wheels as soon as the time came to run. So
I kind of low key really like Brick. I hope you stick around.
Jared looks single. Brick, is that a compliment or a
I don't think so.
I'm not sure which one that is.
7. That was the 7th Preakness.
7 wins. Now 7 wins for Lucas in the Preakness. Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Derek, as well. Yeah. Will you guys be going to Saratoga? Yes, we will be at Saratoga. Yes. So we go to Saratoga every year, but we'll be at Saratoga for the Belmont as well. So
yep. And we're excited.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't decide if that's it. I'm gonna before he responds. Brick is Ricky's burner account.
Oh, there it is. That's it. That it is. It's Ricky. Hey, Rick.
Dude, I had a call from Ricky this week.
Did you answer?
No.
Jesus, I'm watching this disarm race back. Holy shit, he didn't run very well.
All right, you'll buy us a beer. All right. Again, we don't ever say no to beer. So
nope. No, absolutely not.
Jared, stay safe. Appreciate you jumping on here, man. Hey, listen, Jared, in the future, were you the cop that stopped Scotty Scheffler? Was that you? Are your pants ripped? The $80 pants? Is that you?
I didn't even think about that.
Dude, he's in Louisville.
Yeah, I know.
Dude,
yeah.
Jared, if that was you,
boy.
Calm your shit, okay?
I think it was him. I'm going to start spreading that rumor that it was him for sure.
Honestly, Jared probably knows like the full details of it. So I might have to text you, Jared, actually.
I would think he does.
Jared, do you know? Like, do you know all? Like, is there anything you can give me? Sewing these bridges out. Number 7.
Yeah, guys, it's just honestly like some of you hit bets that are here, and that's great. But if you didn't, guys, what we just saw, it's special. It is very, very special. And again, I'll say it. That who knows? That could be that last grade 1 for this man. He's 88 years old, but I have thought that before, and he just keeps winning them. So he's a special day.
I don't want to, he's definitely at the point. Like when you look, especially when you look at him, because you know how like the Preakness is always, he has this tradition where he sits there and he's got his own spot at the barn, and he hangs out there, and Baffert comes and visits with him and whoever. But it's like I was watching some of that stuff this week, and it's like, man, Lucas is like he finally looks like way his age, Yeah. And so it definitely has a feeling of like, listen, it's getting close, right? At some point, maybe it feels that way. So
Well,
it's one of those things that don't take it for granted when you see a guy like this that comes and wins. I mean, there will never be another Dwayne Lucas ever, ever, ever. Never be another Dwayne Lucas. I mean, think of all the guys that are training now that he has impacted or created even. And so for him to be still beating these guys and winning, Triple Crown races is insane.
Yep. It is.
Who got fifth? Who was it?
Lucas.
Just Steele, right?
Steele.
Yeah, it was just Steele, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, just Steele. So Lucas runs first and fifth. How about that? There you go. That's crazy. He had him ready, Halterman. He had him ready. All right, guys. We'll see you guys in 3 weeks. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Caesar Gray wins the coach's 7th, right?
Yep.
7th Preakness Stakes here on May 18th, 2024. All right, guys. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. We'll see you guys next time.